Welcome back to this channel, everyone. It is Mystic Rain, your resident internet psychic medium and spiritual advisor. And today I thought we would do something super cool, super fun, but then also super different. I don't do readings on this channel ever, but I thought it would be really cool to do a reading today where we go through the collective energy of 2022, right? So like, this is not a signs-based reading. This is not a pick a card reading. This is literally us having a look at what the collective will be experiencing energetically for this year. And the hope of this is that you'll have an awareness of the energy that you're going to be actually dealing with for this year. And so if you come across it at any point during the year, you're like, wait a minute, hold up. I have an awareness of this. I already knew it was going to happen. And you hopefully are 10 steps ahead of everybody else because you're not shocked by whatever it is that's occurring, because you already was told by Mystic Rainn at the beginning of the year that that's what the collective will be actually experiencing. Now, before we jump into this video, I want to say I am currently not offering any readings whatsoever. I'm not offering readings. And if you hear from someone that looks like me in terms of an Instagram account, because unfortunately I'm not active on Instagram. I check my Instagram, but I don't actually post on Instagram because I just can't keep up with it. So, but if someone is reaching out to you on any form of social media, pretending to be me, and they're hitting you up in your DMs going, hey, I really love your energy. I would love to read for you. I'd love to DM you a reading or whatever. Your energy seems so special. I would love, like, all of that bull crap. That's not me, right? I will never, ever, 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 ever DM you and solicit you for money. I will never do that. I will never DM you and ask you if I can read for you. I will never do that. Matter of fact, I'm telling you guys every time you DM me for a reading, like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And if you go to my website, you'll even see that the ability to book a reading for me has been taken down because I'm not doing readings. And the reason why I'm not doing it is because your girl's just got a lot of stuff going on and I just can't keep up with everything at once. I'm just not doing it. If at any point in time I change my mind and I'm like, you know what, I want to do them now, then it'll be announced on YouTube through a video where you can see my face and me talking like, hey, I'm opening readings, and I will tell you where to go in order to book with me. But if you hear from somebody and they're like, hey, I'm Mystic Rainn, I want to do a reading for you, that's not me. These spam accounts have been going crazy, and I have reached a really weird level of social media now where people are pretending to be me. There is a fake Mystic Rainn on Instagram at the moment who has taken all my old posts from Instagram and have created a new page, and they're pretending to be me. It is not me. Please don't get scammed out of your money, guys. It is not me. I don't do readings. Not right now. Okay, so let's have a look at this energy. Oh, uh-oh. What are you guys doing? This is not how I wanted to start. Okay, so a lot of this collective energy is going to be this lesson of learning how to get out of our own way, learning how to not sabotage our own situations. So because we are in a year 6, and what do I mean by that? 2022 is the year of 6. So if you know anything about numerology, right? 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 2 is 6, 2, 4, 6. We are in a 6th year. So in a 6th year, 6s are very harmonious years. It's also an incredibly sort of collaborative energy. It's an energy concerned with health, but also with like home and hearth, friendships, and just really important relationships to us. What the collective is going to be learning how to do is how to get out of their own way in terms of self-sabotaging. The collective has been in a situation where it's been incredibly selfish. Now, remember how we had that dawn of the ages, right? How we had moved onto the age of Aquarius. The thing with Aquarian energy is that humanitarian energy. And in order to harness humanitarian energies, it requires people to have to work together. It requires people to have to collaborate with each other in order to get things done. And so in the past, the collective energy has been incredibly selfish and this very selfish, very competitive, and this idea of sort of having to beat you, one up you in order to succeed or to get further in life. It's been really competitive. What's happened is that we've taken that same energy and we've applied it towards our personal relationships that mean a lot to us. That can be family, friendships, that can be romantic relationships, but we've applied that sort of competitive spirit and intimate relationships. And what has happened is it's created a lot of situations with people where they've sabotaged really good relationships around them. Maybe you had a best friend since childhood. Maybe you guys got a little bit older. Maybe someone jumped into their ego a little bit, and for whatever reason, you guys are not friends anymore. Maybe in various romantic relationships that you've had in the past, maybe you self-sabotaged, maybe you got scared, I don't know, maybe you got insecure, and so you freaked out and you self-sabotaged. What's happening is that we're coming out of the sort of like that competitive energy, and we're learning at the moment how to not self-sabotage everything that's good in our lives. I suspect that a number of you in 2021, obviously starting in 2022, because 2020 is when things got more sort of reflective, right? And 2021 was the year of putting all the things that we reflected upon into practice. So 2022 is going to be like a year of lessons of, are you sure that you've learned what you said that you learned, right? A number of you have been in a really deep reflective period where you've been like, you know what, I can't do that anymore. There were maybe some things in my life that were really good, but due to my sort of unresolved shadow aspects, so all my unhealed trauma, maybe I've self-sabotaged things in some sort of way. And you know, I don't want to do that anymore, because if I continue to do that, then I'm going to lose all the really good things, all the really good blessings, and all the really good opportunities that come into my life. And I don't want that to be the case with me, right? So a lot of you guys this year are going to be learning how not to sabotage good things that are happening to you. And you're going to see this concentrated in the area of your relationships, right? And again, all of your relationships, this isn't about love. This is relationships that you carry with anyone of importance to you or significance to you, not sabotaging those people. You're going to learn how to give and take, how to give and receive. You're going to learn how to be there for them, how to be a better friend for them. And at the same time, because this is collective energy, they're going to be learning the same thing. They're going to be learning how to be there for you, how to have your back, how to show up as a friend, how to show up as a family member, how to show up as a romantic partner. Everybody's going to kind of be in that situation at the moment, just trying to figure out how not to do what they did before, right? So that's that devil energy, that self-sabotaging energy. But we're going to be moving out of that this year, and we're going to learn how to sort of give back more, how to collaborate more, and honestly, how to be a better person, like how to be more compassionate, how to be more empathetic, how to be more kind to each other, more understanding of each other and what everybody is going through. Because the up until this point, we all have our own issues, right? We've all been going through our own challenges. And when you are in that place in life, what happens is you can start to sort of wear a set of blinders. You can be wearing a set of blinders, and when you're in that place, it's hard sometimes to come to terms with the fact that other people may also be experiencing hardship as well. And when you're in that place, you become more irritable, right? You're a lot more harder, a lot more harsher with people. And sometimes you're not kind, right? And we all are like that. But when you are going through a challenging situation or challenging periods of your life, and you feel that you're coming across others who are also not being kind to you, sometimes what that can do is put us in worse situations, right? That can put us further down emotionally and mentally than probably what we already were that day. And that says a lot, considering the fact that sometimes we're already feeling really down anyway when we wake up. This year, people are going to be a lot more compassionate and understanding when it comes to people. You're going to start to see people expressing and a lot more empathy. You're going to start to notice that people are going to be trying to extend to others a lot more breaks, a lot more kindness, and a lot more grace and space. And this is coming from this reflective energy that everybody's having. Because the last couple of years is heavily reflective, and we've had time to sort of think, right, about our own behaviors, about how we've contributed to situations. What's happening is that people are going to go, oh, crap. Wow. Okay. If that's where I was, then it would make sense that somebody else may have been experiencing the same thing. And so how people start dealing with their feelings is going to be a lot different than how people used to, right? People dealt with their feelings by not dealing with them at all. People dealt with their feelings by maybe instead of saying, hey, I'm really upset about this one thing, they would express it as anger or as annoyance or as aggravation. All of that energy is going to be transmuted. So when it comes to you guys, the best thing I can say for you in terms of advice for this is that be mindful when you start to notice yourself purging of energies. And when you're healing, you go through these periods and sometimes they're shocking because you don't expect them to come up. Sometimes you have these periods where you feel like you're fine and everything is good. And then you wake up one day and you're really heavily emotional and you're really upset. And next thing you know, you're starting to revisit events that happened in your past. And you are in a place where you're kind of reliving that trauma because you're stuck in your own head. What's happening is that your body is purging of the energies. We have a tendency to store emotion in our body, right? They manifest themselves as aches and pains, sometimes as illness and disease. But when it's time for that stuff to come out and to be released, what happens is we start to purge. And our purges are oftentimes really intensely emotional. And you know that you're purging when you reach a place where you were really fine and then all of a sudden you're very upset for unreasons or for unknown reasons. Maybe you feel like there was no valid trigger for whatever it is that you're experiencing. And a lot of times that's accompanying with some sort of memory of something that's happened in your past that was not favorable, and you become emotional. And when that's happening, typically what's occurring at that moment is that you're purging. And you have to let it out, which means that it requires you to experience and feel whatever it is that you are experiencing and feeling. You have to grant yourself the space to emote, right? Because what is energy? Energy is, or what is emotion? I mean, emotion is energy that is in motion. And when you start to feel something and you go, nope, I can't do that. I can't feel that. I don't have time for that today. Today is not a good day to deal with that. What ends up happening is that you stop that energy from being in motion. It gets stuck where you stopped it, and you stopped it in you, essentially, right? In your auric field. And so that energy has to sit somewhere while it's waiting. And what happens is that it has a tendency to sit in the body. And so when you begin to purge and you begin to feel, sometimes those feelings can be emotions that are expressed as sadness, right? Tears, crying, emotional breakdowns. Sometimes those emotions are expressed as anger. Maybe you're really, really angry, or you're really, really sort of irritable. Sometimes emotions can be expressed as indifference sometimes. The sort of laissez-faire, blasé, I don't really care kind of attitude, sometimes it's expressed that way. Whatever way it's expressed, you have to allow yourself to express it, but make sure it's expressed in a healthy way. So for example, if you're feeling angry, instead of, cursing somebody out, maybe go to the gym a little bit and work out in order to get that energy out of you anyway, maybe punch a punching bag, but the energy still has to flow out of you. And so I'm telling you this as advice because this is part of the responsibility of having foresight of what's to come, is that now you have knowledge and you have information that you can decide whether or not you wish to act upon. Other people in the collective, right, who maybe don't have access to that foresight, will experience the same thing. Everybody will also be purging. Everybody will be purging emotions. People are going to be incredibly emotional this year. The difference is that other people may not understand that what they're doing is a purge. It's necessary and it's healthy and it's a way to rebalance the energetic system. And so you may start to notice people feeling like they're having multiple nervous breakdowns. And truth be told, they may very well be having a breakdown, but not every breakdown is bad, right? Some breakdowns are a purge. For example, I have been having numerous breakdowns lately, but I recognize that I'm purging and I recognize that I'm healing because a lot of my breakdowns are being triggered by previously unhealed trauma that for whatever reason events have occurred presently that are requiring me to address them in order for me to be able to move on with life, right? And that's awareness that I have due to foresight, but not everybody has that. And so other people may really essentially be in a state of purging, but because they don't know that really what's happening is that they're healing, they may interpret that as there being something wrong with them mentally, right? So here's another thing that you're going to be seeing in 2022. You're going to be seeing heightened conversations around mental health, particularly people saying mental illness. So up until this point, people used to say mental health, my mental health this, my mental health that. I'm working on my mental health. Maybe I'm seeing a therapist for my mental health. You're now going to start seeing a recategorization, and that recategorization is going to be on mental illness. So what's going to happen is that you're going to notice a mischaracterization in the collective where people are going to now start to believe that they are sick because they have emotions. They are not sick. So if you reach points during this year, or even if you've reached them previously, where you've been having heightened emotional states, and maybe you're like a mentally ill, I would encourage you to re-examine that belief system and to consider that perhaps it's not an illness, perhaps you're purging and you're actually healing, which ironically is the opposite of what an illness actually is, right? But people are going to be calling it an illness because they're going to be seeing it in such intense, or with such intensity that they're going to be miscategorizing what it is that they are actually experiencing. So be on the lookout for that too, right? So with your sort of important relationships around you kind of being worked on, because we're going to be in this energy of giving and receiving and being more harmonious and more balanced with each other and being there for each other at the same time, you're still going to notice that all the people around you are going to seem a lot more emotional. They're going to be a lot more emotional, and it's going to be more emotional in a deeper kind of way. People are going to be feeling, you're going to be seeing situations of, and by the way, guys, if you're looking for like what card is saying all of this, there isn't one at the moment. I'm channeling. You're going to start noticing that, okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. So let's say you're in a romantic relationship with someone. You're going to start to notice that people are going to start going, do you still like me? Do you still love me? Do you still like how I look? And you may notice that you may feel an urge to seek validation in that way as well. You're going to notice, you're going to see it in your friendships too. You're going to see people, wanting more sort of validation from you, right? So your friend may be like, hey, do you like my shoes? Hey, I did this one thing. What do you think about it? People are going to be more, but it's going to be a little bit more emotional. Because it's going to be sort of insecurities that are going to be coming out. And the reason why these insecurities are going to be coming out is because when you start to shift from competitive energy, from a take energy into a giving and a receiving energy, that requires a level of vulnerability that most people haven't accessed in a really long time. And when you're accessing vulnerability, particularly when you are in a state and you're not aware of that's what's happening, it makes you increasingly insecure. And so you're going to notice people around you start to be a little bit insecure. Coincidentally, the blessing of that is people are going to be a lot more reassuring. And due to them being a lot more reassuring with each other, it's going to create scenarios where you will be able to bond with the people around you a little bit more intensely than you would have necessarily before, because really sort of everybody is kind of sort of being in a more vulnerable state, and people are going to be sort of working on validating each other, validating each other's experiences, validating each other's emotions. And the reason why we're going to be doing that is, remember, we're going into sort of a more collaborative time energetically this year, which means that people are just going to be more aware of that, right? In order to be more collaborative, to act with more community, it requires you to be more vulnerable. And it also requires you to validate each other. And I want to say that this is seen in many aspects of the animal kingdom. In a sense of, for example, you see it with I don't know, maybe lions or like packs of wolves where, the wolves or that are lower in on the food chain in the pack will like groom the alpha, right? Or like lick the alpha. That's sort of their way of seeking validation from the alpha in the pack. And the alpha gives it to them. So, So vulnerability and needing validation are not necessarily a bad thing. It's an incredibly human and animalistic thing. And we're going to be we're moving sort of into that energy this year. And I just feel a really heavy need to say that, because we are taught in society, at least in Western culture, that independence is important, right? Like in the US, independence is something that's highly valued. However, the further east you go, the West may look at those cultures as being codependent, but those cultures are really have heavy sort of importance placed on friends and family structures, right? But in the West, we view that as not being independent, right? So, I say that to say that if you're somebody watching this, because the majority of you guys are in the United States, where independence has been something for you that has been prized, you're proud of your independence. Maybe you've been taught when you're younger that you need to do everything on your own, right? If you're a woman, right, we all know how that goes, particularly if you're a Black woman. In society and the Black culture and the Black community, as a Black woman, there is an expectation that you be and remain a really strong, independent woman where you are self-sufficient on your own and that you do everything on your own. You're going to be noticing this year that a lot of that paradigm is going to be sort of crumbling, and people are going to be like, wait a minute, no, I don't actually have to live by that reality. And maybe I would appreciate having people around me, or maybe I would appreciate having a little bit of help from some time to time. And so you're going to be seeing a lot of that energy sort of play out. One thing I can say is I want you guys to start being, and I'm going to pivot now. We're now off the community thing. I want to start talking to you guys about your money and your finances. One thing I want you guys to do is start being mindful of your savings or your investments or whatever pockets or pools of money you have a tendency to hold on to. 2022 is going to be weird, as what we're going to see here is going to be the physical aspects of the Great Divide that I talked about a lot last year when I talked about the divide and sort of energy, particularly when it comes to spirituality. We're going to see a lot of divide this year, but in the physical material world, particularly in relation to stuff and in relation to money. So people who don't have it, essentially what I'm saying is that the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get poorer, and it's going to become increasingly difficult to be in the middle class, is what I'm saying, right? So pay attention to your spending and pay attention to your savings account. The economy in the US is about to go in the absolute pooper. Look, okay, so the global economy is not going to do well, okay, in 2022. It's going to go down. And you're going to see, in my opinion, there's going to be a lot of false reports that are going to come out in the media about, oh, this aspect of the economy is doing better. Oh, this aspect of the economy is doing better. They're lying to you. That's not really what's happening. What they're happening, they probably took one metric that they were measuring and then put some glitter on it and made it real pretty and created a news story out of it, right? Which would make you think that it's okay to spend your money again because somehow, some way, everything has gotten better. That's not the case. The economy is really going to start doing a bit of a tank. And right now I'm going to speak for the US because that's the country that I'm living in, right? Money is going to be funny. I'm going to say it like that. Money is going to be funny. And money is going to be funny in really profound ways. In the sense of, if you're dry with money, it's going to stay dry. The drought is going to feel like a heavier drought. If you have money, some people have come up during the pandemic. If you're someone that is one of those people, you'll notice that you're probably going to continuously come up. It's a really weird division of energy that's happening when it comes to money and savings at the moment. And so just be mindful of that. And by the way, the government's money is going to be real funny. The US money is going to be real funny. By the time we hit the middle of the year, the politicians are going to start saying that they don't have any money and that they don't know what to do. And then next thing you know, taxes are going to start going up. And what's going to happen is that the middle class is now going to continuously be required to pay all the debts that the government says that they can't pay for themselves. Money is going to be funny. And I also sense that money will move a bit slower, but when it gets to you, it'll be a lot more. It'll feel more so like a windfall, or like kind of like an exponential hit of money, but there's going to be some slower movement towards it. Also, if you have a schedule of like, maybe you have debt and you have a schedule for how you want to pay down your debt, I want you to try to think about building in contingencies in that schedule in terms of considering what are some unexpected expenses that may come up that I didn't previously consider or think about, and let me build that into the schedule, right? So for example, if I'm planning to pay X amount of dollars in March to pay down a particular debt, let's say I have an emergency in March and I can't pay that money, right? How much will I pay in April in order to catch back up to my schedule? Build in contingencies around that, because money is going to be funny. Money is going to have to get spent in areas that you didn't think you were going to necessarily have to spend money on. And you know what? It's not necessarily a bad thing. So for example, it's not that like you get an unexpected bill and you have to pay for it. There's also this weird energy of like you get a weird opportunity for a vacation you hadn't planned for, and that requires money, right? So money is going to be moving funny in 2022. Money is going to be funny. That's really all I can have to say about that. So just be aware of the fact that it's going to be a little funny. It's not that you're not going to have it. It's going to move in a way that you didn't anticipate that it'll move, or you're going to receive money in a way that you didn't think you would receive, or you may lose money in ways that you didn't think that you were going to lose, things that are unexpected. By the way, I also don't get a sense that it's like sort of in your face stuff, like you lose money because you lost the job, right? I don't sense it's that at all. I think it's just weird events that occur that require finances, and then so you pay it, and then because of that it threw you off your money schedule, something like that, right? So pay attention to that. Also, because this row that we have down here, one thing I will say, I've been telling people this too, the energy right now is really funny in the universe in the sense of it's very chaotic, right? We don't have any rules at the moment when it comes to energy or how energy is supposed to work. Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. So, right, one of the rules of energy as a kid that you're indoctrinated with, right, is that you have to go to school and then you have to graduate because that's the only way that you can get a good job where you make enough money to pay for yourself. Right? That's an energetic rule. And what we're seeing a lot of increasingly is people going, I don't want to do that. And they're breaking that energetic rule. And we're starting to see people reach places of success and they didn't follow any of those rules. Maybe they didn't finish school or whatever. And so because everything is chaotic right now, because of the pandemic, it's created a situation where there are no rules, where traditional teachings about how society is supposed to run and what you're supposed to do in life in order to get to wherever you're supposed to go, we're starting to see that those rules just don't apply anymore. And the reason for that is because people had to get really creative. That people had to find really creative ways to take care of themselves during the last couple of years. And that has broken a lot of the stories and the rules and a lot of the parts of the paradigm that we had created for ourselves. And so what this row down here is showing me is that we are still in that energy. We are still in that energy. We're still in the magician energy where we have the ability to manifest whatever we want to manifest without any rules. So the advice for this one, if any of you have been thinking about doing a business and maybe you have tried a couple of business ideas and for whatever reason it has not worked for you, stop copying other people. Right? Stop feeling like in order to make money or in order to reach whatever kind of success you were hoping to reach that you have to follow Jane Doe because Jane Doe did X, Y, and Z and it worked for her. Stop believing that that's what you have to do for yourself in order to have it work for you, because that's not the case at all. Whatever works for you is not going to work for everybody else, vice versa. So instead of throwing the entire idea in the garbage because maybe you feel like it's just not meant for you, Be creative, allow yourself to think outside the box, and do it the way you were originally wanted to do it. Go back to that first idea that you had, that you were like, I'm going to have a business and I want to do it this way. Whatever that idea was, when someone said to you, oh, that can't work, you can't do it like that. So you didn't do it that way. Go back to that original idea and try it again. And I'm curious as to what happened. And I feel that there'll be a number of you that will have a lot more success at that. And then, of course, we're wrapping up right here with the World card, which is we just finished 2021. So it's a culmination of event. And I think it's really beautiful beautiful that it ends with the World card and it begins with the Fool card. It's a new beginning. Very cliche. That's definitely what I expect to see in a reading that you do for the new year. So I don't necessarily have a whole lot to say about that as well. Another thing I will say about this year is that it's going to be incredibly I want to say luck isn't the right word. So I'm going to say maybe serendipitous. Maybe serendipitous is the right word. There's just going to be a lot of sort of events or opportunities that are going to come to you. And you're going to be like, whoa, oh, look at that. You're going to be like, whoa, like, really? Like, for me? Really? Like, nah, that's not what you mean. Like, really? There's just going to be a lot of things that are just going to pop out for you. And it's going to be things that you started the process of manifesting when you were really young. I'll take all of them. Okay. Let's see. So, yeah, so things that you started manifesting when you were really young. So maybe I don't know, maybe you were 17 years old and you had a dream. You know, back in the days when we all had dreams before life got its hands on us. Maybe wanting to do something, maybe you wanted to go somewhere or travel somewhere, you wanted to see something. This year will be a year where a lot of those old sort of dreams that you have will start bubbling to the surface, and you'll start to see the beginning parts of manifestations when it comes to that, or i.e. all the adjacent sort of possibilities. Now, what I will say is that not all of these things you need to say yes to, right? So I'm speaking to particularly all of my year of the yes people right now. Anyone that was like, for this year, I'm going to say yes to everything that comes up. Look, my mother used to always tell me growing up, all that glitters ain't gold, baby. Okay? So some of these possibilities, some of these opportunities that come up will require some discernment. If it does not feel in alignment with what it is that you're trying to do, or if there's just something about it that may seem a little bit too good to be true, or something that's just a little off, then it is okay to turn it down. You don't have to say yes to everything. You know, more things will continue to come. You know, people feel like they don't always want to close the door on something like that. You know, you can close the door. When you open a door again, there may be something else on the other side of that door. Don't be afraid to shut it, right? And then so we have, yin yang, so the balance of energies. This makes sense. Remember, we are in 6 years. 6 years are about harmony, right? To be in harmony requires a level of balance. So a lot of you are going to be sensing that energy. One big thing this year, schedules. Schedules are going to be huge for you guys this year. You guys are going to love a schedule. How many of you this year have already said, oh, you know what? For this year, I want to be more on top of my stuff. I want to create a schedule. I want to get a new planner and I'm going to follow my schedule. I'm going to be more on top of my stuff, right? Part of the desire for you to do that is part of the energies of the year 6. By the way, Virgo is the 6th sign in the zodiac, right? Virgo is that's the home sign. That's the stability sign. That's like the hearth sign, right? Virgo is also ruled by Venus, which is still concerned with your home life and love and balance and harmony, right? And then we also have deceit that's popping up here a little bit. And so for me, this deceit is being tied to these adjacent possibilities. What did I just say? All that glitters ain't gold. So practice a lot more discernment when you start to get these opportunities that seem to be popping up and they seem so serendipitous. And then current connections as well. Remember, this is going to be a year where people are going to have a huge focus on their relationships, the important connections that they have around them. And so this is going to be energy that you're going to be noticing. People having this desire to want to sort of protect it or rebuild something. Or maybe if you had a falling out with a friend, your desire to sort of apologize. Apologies are going to be huge too, you guys. People are going to start apologizing more. You're going to feel the need to apologize to people, or feel the need to just be like, hey, that thing I said, it wasn't right. I shouldn't have said it. I apologize for that. You know what I mean? I didn't want to hurt you. People are going to be more open. You know, that ego is really hard to carry for a really long period of time. And sometimes people have a hard time saying, I'm sorry, or I shouldn't have done it. I apologize. People have a really hard time doing that. And so what's going to happen is that you're going to notice that people are going to start coming forward a lot more going, I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. Or they're going to try to apologize in other ways. Some people have a hard time speaking. Communication's not really good for them, right? But they may come and they may present you with a tiny gift, or they may go, hey, do you need any help with anything? Let me know if I need to help. Let me know if I need to help you with anything. So we've got a really strong energy and like sun energy. We got Leo and Shy, but for me, this is giving me sun, right? This is giving me serendipity. This is giving me lots of opportunities, lots of options for people, and success, right? Because remember, I don't know, I just feel this really intense need to keep saying the word serendipitous. I just feel like there's just going to be opportunities and just things that seem to be coming at you left and right that you didn't previously anticipate. Things that surprise you, but you're pleasantly surprised by what it is. And I think that this is the energy in a collective. Now, I love the fact that the energy is in a collective. And I'm gonna tell you why. Like energy attracts like energy. If on a collective level, globally, we are sitting in this energy of serendipity where things and opportunities are being attracted to us and they're just coming in, and it's a global collective energy, that means more things come in. The more opportunities come, the more opportunities come, right? I actually really like the idea that that's the energy that we're working with. So I want to wrap this up. And I want to see sort of our final sort of thoughts. This one wanted to fly a little bit. Reflection, illusion, self-examination, and distortion. So there is this meme that's flying around on the internet that I think is absolutely hilarious. And I think it's absolutely hilarious because it validated something that I had picked up back in October. And was it October? No, it was September. I picked it up on like September because I wrote it down in my notebook at that time. And what I remember feeling was that 2022 is going to be similar to 2020 in terms of themes in life. Now, this is probably why you guys are not going to get a huge video on predictions for 2022, because there's not a whole lot to predict, because what really is going to happen is that history is going to repeat itself. So if you're thinking about outside things that may happen, right, it's really going to be like all the political things that we saw will happen again. Everything with the pandemic will happen again. COVID is not going away in 2022. We don't start getting a handle on it or start getting a better understanding of COVID and what to do with it until 2023. All those same issues will still be on CNN. All of those spikes will still be on CNN. All of a sudden we get these new mysterious, more contagious variants. Yep. All of that will still be on CNN. All the politicians fighting, yep, will still be on CNN. All those protests, yep, will still be on CNN. Fires, yep, will be on CNN. It is going to repeat itself. One thing I will say that is going to be added is snow, ice. It's going to be really snowy, and it's going to snow in places that it's not supposed to snow. The places that it should snow in, it's going to snow for longer periods of time. There's going to be a lot more ice, a lot more sleet. It's going to be the opposite of fire, right? It's going to be ice. So it's going to be kind of icy in 2022 or snowy. Think rain, think hail or sleet maybe in the summer. People are getting like golf ball sized hail, kind of icy, right? And Cold War with China probably. And then also some war that erupts in or around Turkey at some point in the year. But outside of those things, 2022 is really more so a year of reflection. Oh, that's not what I meant. Okay, let me back up. I'm getting confused with all my numbers. Okay, 2020 was the year of reflection, right? Because 2020 was when we had the ability to slow down because we had to, because it was locked down, right? 2022 is like the year of 2022, right? In the sense of we're going to feel a lot of deja vu. You're going to have a lot of deja vu this year, a lot of repeating themes in your life, even repeating themes in the media. You're going to have multiple times this year where you're going to be like, wait a minute, didn't I deal with this already? Or didn't I do this? Or maybe your friend is going to be talking to you and you're going to look at them like, wait, no, we had this conversation already. Deja vu is going to be really big this year. And essentially what it is, it's almost like a weird way to test, to verify that you mean what you say you mean, right? 2020 was the year of reflection. 2021 was the year everyone said, you know what, I ain't doing that no more. We can't do that, blah, 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 yada, yada. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to make my life like this or make my life look like this so I can get the things that I want, blah, 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 blah. I'm not tolerating that kind of treatment. I'm setting these kind of boundaries, all of that type of stuff. 2022 is the year that goes, but are you sure? Are you really going to do that thing that you said you're going to do? And in order for the universe to be like, but are you sure? It requires that you repeat some themes. And so you will come across themes or maybe situations with people where you're going to be like, I feel like I just got through this. Like I just said I wouldn't do this anymore, right? A simple example of that is, let's say you had a really bad experience dating somebody. And you swore up and down, oh, I'm never doing that again. I'm never dating nobody like that again. Nope, nobody can treat me like that again. And then you're going to meet somebody in 2022. They're going to sweep you off your feet. And then a month later, they're going to do that thing. And you're going to be sitting there going, but I told myself I wasn't going to go through this anymore, right? 2022 is like the theme. That's the whole year. The whole year of going, but are you sure? This is literally going to be a time for you to step up and mean what it is that you said. It's going to be a huge amount of reflection. All that time you sat sitting around going, what am I going to do in my life? How am I going to change my life? I'm not happy. All that stuff you did. This is going to be the year where it's like, okay, but are you sure? Do you mean it? Like, do you mean it though? So these are your final thoughts, right? This is what Spirit wants you to know before we wrap this up. There's some people watching this that Spirit needs to talk to specifically. First one, Goddess of Strength. Stand up for what you believe. That shit happens. What did I just say? You will gain respect by holding your ground. What did I just say? Look, be about it, okay? Make 2022 the year of being about it. Do what you said you're going to do. Be who you are. Be who you said you wanted to be. Live the life that you said that you wanted to live. Because this whole year, the universe is going to be like, but are you sure? And God of spiritual healing, an aspect of you or a situation in your life is in need in healing. What did I say earlier in the reading, right? A lot of what you're going to be experiencing is purging, the purging of emotions. And it's necessary that you purge your emotions because that's the only way to get in touch again with your inner truth. And when you can regain a sense of your inner truth and who you are and what you are, then it is easier to walk through life being unapologetically you and loving you while being unapologetically yourself. So that's going to bring us to the end of this reading. I hope that this is insightful. These are going to be the energies that you're going to be encountering for 2022. And it's going to be the energies that you're going to be seeing play out a lot in the year of 2022. And now you have an insight and you are a step ahead of everybody else because now you have the knowledge. And so with this knowledge, you can now make decisions on what you want to be, how you want to act, and things that you want to pursue in your life this year because you now understand the energies that are going to be at play. And when you understand the energies at play, you can then make a decision whether or not you want to play with those energies too. Remember, you are a co-creator. There's a reason why in a spiritual community, people don't just call you the creator, right? It's always co-creator, because you are co-creating with the universe. If the collective is playing with these energies and you are a co-creator, then that means that you have the ability to play back, to work with them. So here's an example. Let's say you have a huge project at work, or maybe you have a business that you want to get off the ground, but you haven't done it because you feel like it's going to require an enormous amount of help. I just told you that in this collective, people are going to be more willing to give. People are going to be in a place where they're going to be more compassionate. They're going to want to help. It's in the collective energy. This year will be a good idea to get that idea off the ground, because the help that you need to get it off the ground will exist, because that is the energy that's going to be at play in the collective. Therefore, it only makes sense that you decide to play with it too. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. If you like what you see, please subscribe to this channel. And as always, I'll see you all soon.